Hey everybody, this is Mike Denny in Bowling Green, Kentucky, formerly the PC Doctor, and today I'm going to do an unboxing and a review of the Bolse BO-N1557 300 megabits wireless USB adapter. Got this off of Amazon. Here it opens from this little package, opens into this little package, kind of wasteful, but it had to have this in it, even though you'll see that later that this was blank. What worthless garbage. I'm making this video at the end of having the experiences that you're about to see. So if you're a regular consumer and you're not interested in the technical aspect or even how the install went, I'm just going to tell you right now that my recommendation is not to buy the product. In fact, I am going to be contacting Amazon today about returning the product because it did not live up to several of the original item descriptions listed in the Amazon ad for the product made by Bolse themselves. Well, the first being that it was plug and play. In the original item description, which I don't think is up anymore, I think they've removed it very carefully, it did say that it was plug and play, and some of the reviews, which I now suspect may have been artificial, fake, did indicate that it was. And I read through a lot of Amazon reviews before I buy a product, and I searched through Amazon reviews for this particular feature. That's why I bought this particular product. I'm doing 3 reviews, 2 other videos today on 2 other products, one of which unfortunately is also made by the same company, and we'll see how those go later. But here's how this one went. Now, one of the first things I've noticed is while making my little screenshot video, I plugged the unit in and I had to go to the control panel to even see if it was recognized by Windows. And as you'll see here, go into Device Manager and open it. No, it absolutely, not only was it not recognized by Windows, it was not even recognized after I forced a scan by clicking in the Device Manager, and then here we go. I click in Device Manager and force Windows to do a scan for plug and play devices. It still did not come up. The only 2 you see was the one that came with my computer. So we'll see. First of all, this review is for regular consumers who may or may not be buying this device to plug and play. I ordered 3 devices from Amazon, 2 others which I will review next, and 2 out of the 3 were said to plug and play with Windows 7 especially. This one absolutely did not. In fact, it was a little bit of a task to install the driver for multiple reasons. But first of all, I want to get out of the way the nice little book that they package with it. It has quite a few well done instructions, as you can see as I go through the pages, almost like a flip book. It's the same size. Secondly, the disc, the main reason I had trouble with the driver is not only did the device not plug and play, but the driver disc that it came with, as you'll see in the screenshot videos next, read to Windows as a blank disc. The back of it also indicated a improper burn. Possibly the machine wasn't etching very well that day, and so technically it may be a blank disc, especially with the new non-terminated burning methods, you know, where you don't have, Windows allows you to leave the session open. So I'll just show you next how the rest of the driver install went, and then I had to reboot in order to get the device to work, so I'll finish up with that. As I described in the intro, it did not plug and play as shown here. I had just plugged the device in, so I realized I was going to have to install the driver. So of course the next step was to go ahead and insert the driver disk, which I showed in the intro, in which I'm doing at this point in the screenshot video, and it came up indicating it was blank. Windows really would not read this disk, and my optical drive is just fine, thank you. So when I tried to open it various ways and it came up wanting me to name it as a blank, I moved on to Googling for a driver. Okay, so who doesn't know how to Google for a driver yet? You find the driver name, the model name of the device you're looking for, and you Google it. You might even add the word driver, or as I did, the version of Windows you're looking for a driver for. It was easy to find, so I went up top and found their web page to be well laid out, well designed, a little more confidence inspiring, even though the driver disk had been blank. Found the driver and downloaded it from my version of Windows. The pop-ups look a little cheesy, but I went ahead anyway and downloaded it. Here's where things got a little bit more problematic. I almost immediately noticed the slowness of the download. It was really slow. To prove to myself that it wasn't just my computer or my internet, I opened a speed test window, a tab, and proved that it was. My speed is currently 35.04 megabits per second at the time I was trying to do this download. A 47 meg download took well over 2 minutes to come over from their slow servers. When the file finally arrived and I was able to open the zip, I noticed it was an executable and that the driver was made by Realtek. The device was. So I installed it. Realtek drivers are notoriously slow as they are executable, and often you cannot extract the driver from the executable file. While it was still installing, I went ahead and plugged it in, and I viewed the Windows Network hardware pop up. Another minute later, and I'm still watching for it to finish and checking the network hardware devices. Another half a minute later, it's still installing. Finally, after a 10-minute struggle to figure out that I have a bum disk to Google for the driver, to download, extract, and install it, Windows indicates that it's time for me to reboot my computer to finish the install process. So it was kind of a nasty little surprise to have to Google for a driver after they gave me a bum disk. And you notice at this point, even before I reboot, the Windows virtual mini port adapter does come in, although the rest is reboot required. Not till making this video did I realize, of course this was an opening of a box, you know, an out-of-box experience, did I realize how really direly difficult this little driver is to install. Upon rebooting, I remembered that I had, when it didn't show up in Windows Device Manager, this little device, and I remembered I had, immediately after installing the driver last boot, before rebooting, I had pulled it out to show the camera the size of it. Now the driver was already in place, the device was removed and installed back into the same USB port. Many times you won't lose track of a device that way. Is the only reason I didn't think before I did it. Upon rebooting, definitely had to go through the whole process again, but in the meantime I wanted to show a screenshot video of how reliant this Realtek driver is upon the executable. There must be some registration going on, because after rebooting, that's this boot, I went back in and, well, I'll just show you. I remembered that I had downloaded it, of course, and I was able to find this driver folder, which has all the drivers for all the different versions of Windows I downloaded for Windows 7 32-bit. So I found the driver location, the actual driver file location. I attempted to do a manual install of the driver, and went into Windows Control Panel, Device Manager, and there was no way to force Windows to get it to show back up, even though it was still I could unplug it and plug it back in all I want. So I thought maybe the executable was preventing it. Alright, canceled it, actually quit it, wasn't showing up down there, and I did it again. I said, let's see if Windows will allow me to force install it, that is, do a manual install from the Device Manager. So again, there's the file folder where the drivers were. I went in, I told it I want to add a piece of legacy hardware. It did not show up from the manual list of previous items, which you'll see in the list that shows up. Many of the items I have installed previously, including my Android phone, do show up. And you'll see it's not showing up under Realtek or wireless or anything. So I just double clicked on network adapters, knowing that subject heading will work. I went in and told Windows where the driver was. I found the actual driver folder the Windows version, plugged it in, and it still didn't see it. So this is going to be a bugger to install for most people who don't do it right the first time. And I don't do everything right the first time. It's how I've learned. During this reboot, I also double-checked the optical drive to make sure it was working and verified that they had indeed shipped me a blank disk. See this face? This is my disgruntled face. See this hair? This is my frustrated hair, where I've done this a lot. So, this is my third reboot, and upon the third reboot I've learned that this is a very flaky little device. The interface is lacking. You really don't want anything interfering with Windows built-in wireless configuration utility. So many techs know this, but consumers should know you should always go into MS-config and have them not begin automatically so that your Windows can do it. So I'll go in now and I'll go into MS-config and tell Realtek's wireless configuration tray monitor not to come up. Not that it interfered with this device, but there are other issues. The immediate boot after my last section of this video, it locked up my computer, and my computer is a good solid working Dell with Windows 7 32-bit edition, and it just locked it up at the screen that shows the Windows for Windows 7, and you're supposed to see the little 4-color lights come in and zing around the top. It didn't do those lights, so basically that's where it locked up, and I had to pull the device and switch it to a different USB port to get it to come up. Now the whole time I'm thinking, well, will it boot now, or will the driver install correctly? Because the last time I tried it, it wouldn't do it. I know there's no problem with that USB port, but for this device there was. That port will read anything else I put on it, but the port that I had to switch it to, I finally got Windows to boot, even though the Windows boot was much more slower than usual. When it finally rebooted, I've got a screenshot to show you the rest. And here's where I was barely able to start my screenshot video recording, and Windows had found the adapter and was trying to reinstall it for the third time. Now, it finally did find the drivers, but it took over a minute to find them. And it had already been showing up in my taskbar for about 30 seconds by the time I got this video to start. So keep in mind that was upon reboot. I had to reinstall the driver. So here we are. It finally found it, and of course it says it's a wireless in, but at this point I realize that this device is actually not a true dual band device. Now, I knew one of them probably wasn't, but I also wanted to show you something else at this point. I disabled the Realtek tray program and allowed Windows, because Windows is configured to handle all my Wi-Fi connections. So there is my connection to my little PC Doctor Wi-Fi SSID, and then's when I realized, hey, I hadn't seen my 5G connection, and then's when I realized, hey, this device isn't finding it, so hey, it's not true dual band. Yes, doesn't work. At this point I'm really disgusted. I'm frustrated and disgusted with this device, because no device that purports to be a 300 megabits per second USB adapter is truly going to give you that speed unless it's truly dual band. And a lot of networking techs will argue that that's fine, they can do that, but for most routers, home routers especially, you're not going to get much more than 150 out of the 2.4 gigahertz range. So you can say what you want, but this device, I wanted to show you something else in the book. This was one of the ones that I had ordered that had advertised the pretense Windows 7 should download and install the driver automatically when the USB adapter is plugged in. For the first time, note that it didn't for me. Please follow the following steps, and if the installation CD doesn't run, please go to this website to download your driver. It looks like this Bolse company is building in something that GM Corporation did for years. They're just planned obsolescence or planned non-functionality. So overall, I rate this device for first time install, for usability, and my expectations being met. I had to go through a lot more reviews today to verify where I had gone wrong. you can search Amazon reviews. Well, I had before I bought this, and a lot of people were saying yes, that it had plugged and played in their Windows 7 computer. For me, it absolutely did not. There was no way it worked as such. So that's a problem for me. It may be the port I put it in though. So I'm probably going to uninstall it next and try it in the port that it likes, the USB port. As far as the rest of my review, unfortunately I've based it on the driver install. So if I'm all happy after I try the different port, then I always wonder why the heck didn't it work in this original port, which works for everything else I plug into it. Every flash drive I have laying here can plug in this port, and it will immediately read up, and you can hear it, and it will find it. So I'm wondering what, there it is. Windows found my little flash drive. I'm going to pull this one out and put the other one in, and you get it. Basically, Windows is not having a problem with any other device besides this little wireless device. So I am going to go ahead, remove it, and I'm going to remove all the drivers for it, delete all the driver files that came with the installation. I'm just going to plug and play with this port over here and see if it likes that one, and maybe my YouTube review of this device will turn out to be a very happy one after all. But you've seen the progress and how if it does work, it came to that point. Right now I'm not too happy with it, and keep in mind both sets of USBs on both sides of my laptop are USB 2.0s. There's no difference in those, so it really shouldn't be doing the stuff it's doing. Okay, here you can see I go back in and I leave the device in and uninstall it. I make sure to delete the driver software for the device, and as soon as it's uninstalled, I go ahead at this point and unplug the device from the USB port. At this point, I tried reinstalling the device by just plugging it back in, and Windows immediately returned a message saying it would not automatically plug and play. I did go ahead and do a screenshot video noting how Bolse has misrepresented plug and play compatibility in their Amazon listing for this device. Okay. At this point, I'm very, very disappointed in both this little product and the company that makes it, and also Amazon for continuing to carry devices made by companies like these. Right, let's see, all you have to do is go through the little product manual and read in the first paragraph to get the gist of why people should be disappointed. First of all, Windows 7 should download and install the driver automatically. It did not happen. It won't happen. This product is not made to plug and play. If you read through the reviews and you search through them and search Amazon reviews for plug and play or PNP, or just for the words Windows 7 or the word drivers, you're going to find people with multiple issues about this. And this is one of those products that's kind of sneaky. When I ordered it, there weren't half as many angry people, angry customers for this particular product as there are now. The next sentence, part 2 of the first paragraph, is the next disappointment, indicator of a disappointment. If the installation CD doesn't run, if it doesn't, you don't really usually hear that kind of thing. If it doesn't even run, that's ridiculous. They know that they're putting out slop, and they're releasing CDs that don't even, they're blank. This company is making so much money so quickly that they're not even bothering to test their products or even see if their CDs are burned correctly. And they actually have the gall to write it into the manual in such a way. Not if the driver doesn't install correctly. It actually says, I'll show you, if the installation CD doesn't run. I've never seen that ever. So another indication that the company is slopping. Really disappointed with the product. So I wouldn't buy it. In fact, I'm thinking very seriously, because it is not dual band and the multiple driver issues, and the fact that I was fooled into buying it because other reviews and the product description at one point did indicate that it was plug and play. I think I will contact Amazon about returning this particular nano wireless receiver.